Hello, welcome back to Animated Literacy. This is alternate lesson number 38 from the Story Song and Action Book. In our last lesson, we learned the gesture, the story, and the song for Griselda Green. In this alternate lesson, we're going to give you a different story that teaches the same gesture, the same sound as regular lesson 38, but gives you a choice so you can decide which of the two stories fits your needs and your preferences, or you can, as talked about in the last lesson, you can do both stories and songs. So this lesson is going to be about a goose, and it's about a goose named Gilda. Before we go into Gilda Goose's story and song, let's do just a little bit with sound play. So if we take out a puppy dog and our puppy dog says woof woof, and we put it into the song about the little puppy, it could sound like this. Little puppy goes woof, woof, woof. Sadie's puppy goes, can you do it before me? Soof, 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 soof for surfing. Little puppy goes woof, woof, woof. Polly's puppy goes poof, poof, poof for painting. What's Polly's puppy say? Poof, poof, poof. Little puppy, he says moof, moof, woof, woof, woof. Let's do it again. Little puppy, he says woof, woof, woof. What's Mimi's puppy say? Mimi's puppy, he says moof, moof, moof. Let's switch from our puppy and let's do some for the bee. What does the little bee say? Little bee, he says buzz, buzz, buzz. Kimmy's bee, she says cuz, cuz, cuz again. Kimmy's bee, he says cuz, cuz, cuz. Little bee, he says buzz, buzz, buzz. What about Daisy's bee? Show me dancing. Daisy's bee, he says does, does, does. Now let's just see if we can go quickly through and have you tell me what the bee says for each of these sounds. Ready? Buzz, buzz, buzz for bowing. What's this one? Show me catching. Cuz, cuz, cuz. Show me fishing. Fuzz, fuzz, fuzz. Show me juggling. Juzz, juzz, juzz. Show me riding and roping. Ruzz, ruzz, ruzz. Show me humming your hot air. Huzz, huzz, huzz. What if we switch to a kitten? Little kitten, she says meow, meow, meow. Hippie's kitten, he says meow, 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 meow. You do that again. So if you make a mistake, you just go back and do it over. Ready? Little kitten, she says meow, meow, meow. Hippie's kitten, she says heow, heow, heow. Do that again. Heow, heow, heow. Timmy's kitten, little kitten, she says meow, meow, meow. Timmy's kitten, she says teow, teow, teow. Seow, seow, seow. Peow, peow, peow. Meow, meow, meow. What happens if we go to an owl? Little owl, she says hoot, hoot, hoot. Mimi's owl, she says moot, moot, moot. Again, moot, moot, moot. Little owl, she says hoot, hoot, hoot. Kimmy's owl, she says coot, coot, coot. Doot, doot, doot. Boot, boot, boot. Coot, coot, coot. Foot, foot, foot. Joot, joot, joot. Okay, so I hope you're having fun playing with lots of sounds. Remember, there's two things that we have to do a lot of if you're going to be really good readers. You need to play with sounds, and while you're playing with your sounds, you also need to know how to spell those sounds, so the letters that go with them. And the other is you need to hear lots of books, and those books need to have lots of words so you can develop a big vocabulary of words that you know, and also ideas that you know, and facts that you know. So spend lots of time with books, lots of time with sounds, and you'll end up reading really well. So let's take a look now at some books to go along with our character today and talk about things that we already know. So one of the things that we're going to talk about is a farmer. And we sang a song about a farmer called what? Old MacDonald had a farm, E-I-E-I-O, and here was our farmer. And in our story today, we're also going to be talking about a farmer. So you might want to go back with your parent or teacher and sing that song again and talk about the farmer and the things that you find on a farm. And we drew a picture of a farm and we labeled our farm. Can you show me what the sounds were in the word farm? Ready? Farm. Again. Farm. And we added farm to our picture word wall of words that we can draw and label. Can you tell me the letters that we used to spell farm? F-A-R-M. So again, if you're going to be a good reader, you have to be able to play with lots of sounds, and you need to know how to spell those sounds. And again, lots of books. We're going to be talking about geese today. So you can talk with your parent or your teacher and tell them all the things you know about a goose. Now, when I was growing up, and I did something really crazy. My mom sometimes called me a silly goose. This is a book by Jan Omerod that's titled Silly Goose, but it's not really about a goose at all. It's about acting silly. And it starts out like this. It says, I swing like a gibbon. And so here's the gibbon over here. And a gibbon is what? A monkey. So again, we're learning more words. And here she is swinging like a gibbon. I hop like a flea. And so here's the flea over here. Tiny little dot. And here she is hopping like the flea. What else can she do? I jump like a kangaroo. And here's the kangaroo jumping. And here's the girl jumping. And she acts like a whole bunch more animals. If you read this book, you can see what else she acts like. And then at the end of the story, she says just what my mom used to tell me. She says, look at me, my mom says. Sometimes I'm just as silly as a goose. So when you hear somebody telling you you're just as silly as a goose, it just means what? You're doing something pretty crazy. Now, our story today also is going to have to do with the most famous goose in the world. And probably the most famous goose is Mother Goose, because Mother Goose made up lots of nursery rhymes. And so this is a good time to practice some of your favorite nursery rhymes, and you'll find many of them in this book by Arnold Lobel. But there's a lot of books about nursery rhymes. Now, some of those nursery rhymes don't end up very happy. Some of them have some kind of mean things in them. So this author decided, well, I like the way these nursery rhymes rhyme, but I don't like the way they always end, or sometimes end, in kind of a bad way. So this author took and rewrote the nursery rhymes to make them much more gentle and much more friendly. And so this is called The New Adventures of Mother Goose, because these are not the original way of telling the rhymes. These are a new way, and this is written by Bruce Lansky. So if you want some different way, some new ways to do old rhymes, that book will have it. Now, we're also going to be talking about eggs in our story today. So you can talk with your parent or your teacher about eggs, and if you like to eat eggs, and if you do like to eat eggs, how you like to eat them. Do you like them scrambled? Do you like them over easy? Do you like them hard boiled? Do you like them by themselves, or do you like other things mixed in with your eggs? This is a Dr. Seuss book about eggs called Green Eggs and Ham. And we'll just read a tiny bit of it here. And it starts out like this. It goes, Sam I am, that Sam I am. I do not like that Sam I am. Do you like green eggs and ham? I do not like them, Sam I am. I do not like them. I do not like green eggs and ham. And so this book goes on and on and on about green eggs and ham. So that's a fun story that you can practice and then learn to read to yourself. This is probably the most famous egg in the world. And this is Humpty Dumpty. And you may know the old nursery rhyme about Humpty Dumpty. So say it after me. Humpty Dumpty sat on a wall. Humpty Dumpty sat on a wall. Humpty Dumpty had a great fall. Humpty Dumpty had a great fall. And all the king's horses and all the king's men and all the king's horses and all the king's men couldn't put Humpty together again. Well, we've talked a lot about how you can take old stories and old rhymes and old songs and rewrite them, and we do a lot of that in animated literacy. And here's an author who decided that rhyme is too short. It needs to go on and on. So this author extended the rhyme and wrote lots of new verses for the rhyme. And this is written by Daniel Kirk. And he starts out like this. Humpty Dumpty stared at the wall, for sitting at home was no fun at all. He squirmed on the sofa and wiggled his leg. You can't be too careful when you are an egg. And so if you get this book, you can read a lot more about Humpty Dumpty. This is another old story that is probably almost as famous as Humpty Dumpty. And this is called The Goose That Laid the Golden Egg. And this is one version of that. You'll find many people have rewritten that story over and over and over again. And this is a Skybrary version that is different from the one that I'm holding up. So you might get several books about the goose that laid the golden egg and kind of compare them to see how different people tell that story. And that story is going to go right along with Gilda Goose that we're learning about today. Another topic that you can talk about is sharing. And this is a Skybrary book about sharing called Sharing with Others. And it's about people who give to people who are in need. So whenever there's a flood or whenever there's an earthquake or whenever there's a fire or something and people need food, lots of people donate and then help pass out that food to the people who need it. And then later, when they don't need help, they may help somebody else. So that's a good story about helping and about sharing. Well, in our story, we have somebody who really is not good at sharing at all. This is about a farmer in The Goose That Laid the Golden Egg, who simply does not like to share. Well, at the beginning of the story, our story starts out just like the old story, where here we have a farmer, and this farmer has a goose. And the goose that he has is named Gilda. Now, at the beginning of the story, the farmer is very poor, just like in our story of The Goose That Laid the Golden Egg. But what I did is I didn't like the way this story ended, because in the original story, the farmer ends up killing the goose to try to get all of her golden eggs, and I didn't like that ending. So just like the new Mother Goose, I changed the way the story ends. So in my story, Gilda Goose is owned by this farmer, and when the farmer discovers that she lays golden eggs, every day he goes and collects the eggs, and he goes to town and he sells the eggs, and he goes from being the poorest farmer in the village to being the richest farmer in the village. But just like in the original story, the more eggs that he collects, the greedier he gets. And after a while, he decides, I don't like waiting to only get one egg each day. What if I just go to the goose and I make her give me all of her eggs all at once? And so that's just what he does. And when he goes to the goose to tell her that she has to give him all the eggs, what he doesn't know is you can't kill or hurt a golden goose. And if you try to, what happens is you end up setting the goose free. So when the farmer in our story went to harm the goose, she was set free and off she glided. And as she glided, she decided that she would give her golden eggs to people who deserved the eggs. And so she glided all around looking for good boys and girls who shared things with other people and who made other people happy. Whenever Gilda Goose found someone who was being kind to other people, she would sneak into their bedroom at night, much like the Tooth Fairy, and she'd put one of her golden eggs under each pillow. And the next day, when the child woke up and saw the golden egg, they'd be as happy as the farmer, but they wouldn't end up turning out greedy. So whenever you see our picture of Gilda Goose, I want you to think about how she glided from glen to glen, passing out her golden eggs, and put your arms up to your sides and go, G. Now, if we put Gilda Goose into Are You Sleeping, it's going to sound like this. Are you gliding, Gilda Goose, Gilda Goose? Gilda's bells are saying, Gilda's bells are saying, ging gong ging, ging gong ging. But if we change it to a cat, are you gliding, Gilda Goose, Gilda Goose? Gilda's cat is saying, Gilda's cat is saying. Can you do it before me? What's the cat say? Geow, 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 geow. Are you gliding, Gilda Goose, Gilda Goose? Gilda's puppy saying, Gilda's puppy saying, goof, 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 goof. Let's go through our others and see if we use Gilda Goose's sound, what they might say. What is the owl going to say? He's not going to go hoot, hoot. He's going to go goot, goot. And what's the bee going to say? He's not going to go buzz, buzz. What does Gilda's bee say? Guzz, 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 guzz. Okay. Well, just like all of our characters now, Gilda Goose has a song, and her song is to the tune of Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. So warm your muscles up and sing after me and show me the gestures. First, show me gliding and sing this back to me. Gilda Goose is gliding free. Your turn. Gilda Goose is gliding free. Now here's her golden eggs. So pretend to hold out the eggs. Giving eggs to you and me. Giving eggs to you and me. Golden eggs. Now you can show me the shape of an egg. Golden eggs for guys, and if you're a guy, point to yourself, and gals, and so you can point to a girl. Golden eggs to share with pals. Golden eggs to share with pals. Now, how are you going to make that letter G? Here's a capital G. Here's a lowercase g, and here's another way to make a small or a lowercase g. So play for just a second and see how you can make those, and then I'll show you how I do it. When I make my G, I usually make a capital, so I'll form my hand like this, so it's just a curve just like you see in our picture. Then I'll take and I'll make this line that goes across it. So here's my G. G's for Gilda, gliding free. G's for Gilda, gliding free. Giving eggs to you and me. Okay, well, let's try that all together now without stopping. Ready? Gilda Goose is gliding free, giving eggs to you and me. Golden eggs for guys and gals, golden eggs to share with pals. G's for Gilda, gliding free, giving eggs to you and me. Now let's try that along with our recording and see if you can do all of the gestures and sing the song while I point to the words.
Gilda Goose is gliding free, giving eggs to you and me. Golden eggs for guys and gals, golden eggs to share with pals. She's for Gilda gliding free, giving eggs to you and me.
Okay, well, when you get your picture of Gilda Goose, here you have your G up at the top. So you can rainbow right over your capital G, your lowercase g, and then over the other way to make a G. Now, most of the time, Gilda's letter makes the G sound. But Gilda has two different ways, or two different sounds that she can make with her letter. So if you are putting at the beginning of goose or at the beginning of girl, it's going to go G. But it doesn't always make the G sound. Here's a picture of an animal. What kind of an animal is this? Here we have a giraffe. And giraffe starts with G, just like Gilda starts with G. But this isn't a giraffe. It doesn't go G in giraffe. What sound does it make? It makes Jenny Jaguar's J sound. So G can either make the sound you hear in Gilda Goose and gliding, or it can make the sound you hear in Jenny Jaguar and juggling. So how do you know which one to use? Well, you just have to try, and if it sounds right, then it is right. But if it sounds wrong, then try the other sound. So try G first, because that's what it does most of the time. But if it doesn't sound right with G, try J, and that'll probably be the right sound. So after you have done your rainbow writing on the back of your page, I want you to think of things from your life that are kind of like Gilda's. So we talked about eggs, and on the back of your page you could draw me a picture if you like to eat eggs and show me how you like to eat them, and then write a sentence under that. We talked about nursery rhymes. So maybe you have a favorite nursery rhyme that you want to draw a picture for, and you can then tell that nursery rhyme to your parent or to your teacher. Maybe you are someone who really likes to share that Gilda Goose would bring one of her golden eggs to. So that would be a really good one for you to write about. You can write about someone who you share with and what it is that you like to share with them. So I hope you enjoyed our story about Gilda Goose today. And in our next lesson, we're going to draw something that uses Gilda Goose's letter and sound. So hope to see you then.